and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching India Today Global. Now, after Jordan, Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, for a two-day state visit at the invitation of Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali. This is the first visit of the Prime Minister to Ethiopia. The Prime Minister began his three-country tour, beginning with Jordan. He was accompanied by Crown Prince Al Hussein bin Abdullah II, who bid Prime Minister Modi farewell. Prime Minister Modi shared pictures of his departure from Jordan. He also said his meetings contributed to strengthening the partnership between India and Jordan. On his arrival, Prime Minister Modi was personally received by Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali, who drove him to his hotel from the Addis Ababa airport and made an unscheduled stop at the Science Museum and Friendship Park. Prime Minister Modi also held bilateral talks with Prime Minister Abiy and met the Indian diaspora there. He will also address a joint session of the Ethiopian Parliament. According to the Ministry of External Affairs, this visit aims to reaffirm the shared commitment of both countries as partners in the Global South to strengthen friendship and expand bilateral cooperation. My colleague Pranay Upadhyay joins me for more on this. Pranay, before I focus on the visit itself, let's take our viewers through a few pictures. Prime Minister Modi was taken on a ride, and it began at the SCO summit in Tianjin. Then you see the Ethiopian Prime Minister receiving him and taking him in his car from the airport to the hotel. We'd seen the same when Crown Prince escorted or drove the Prime Minister to the airport in Jordan. And then we saw Prime Minister Modi himself driving Putin to the residence in Delhi, as also Putin driving Prime Minister Modi. What's this all about?
It seems to be the carpool seems to be the new flavor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's diplomacy. But we have seen, Prime Minister Narendra Modi driving with President Barack Obama in 2014. We have seen in 2018 Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a vehicle. And these are the visuals we have seen in many a times, even in Tianjin, when President Vladimir Putin waited for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and they drove not only for a longer while. They had a long conversation in car, and in fact Prime Minister Narendra Modi reciprocated the similar gesture when he received President Vladimir Putin in Delhi, and he drove him to the 7 LKM. So clearly, this is the way to bond with the leader. This is to show the warmth and the importance. But beside these visuals, Geeta, this also shows the importance, both the leaders attaching to each other, like both the Crown Prince, the gesture extended by Crown Prince in Jordan, or the gesture extended by Prime Minister Abiy in Ethiopia. This clearly shows that how much importance Jordan attaches to India and its strategic partnership and relation with India, and similarly in Ethiopia as well.
Okay, we'll focus on the next leg of visit as well. For now, Pranay, thank you so much for joining us. Focusing on his next leg, Prime Minister Modi's Oman visit could mark a turning point in India's Gulf strategy, with trade talks nearing a breakthrough and defense cooperation deepening at a key maritime crossroads. As CEPA, that's the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, inches closer and regional tensions loom in New Delhi, and is New Delhi poised to lock in one of its most strategic partnerships in West Asia? Farhan Khan with this report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Oman, scheduled for the final leg of his three-nation tour from December 15 to 18, is shaping up to be one of the most consequential engagements India has had with a Gulf partner in recent years. At the heart of the visit is economics, but the agenda clearly stretches well beyond trade. The big headline is the India-Oman Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, or CEPA. Negotiations for this free trade pact began in November 2023, and both sides have moved rapidly since then. Oman's Shura Council has already cleared the agreement, and the Indian cabinet has also given its approval. While officials have stopped short of confirming that the CEPA will be formally signed during Modi's visit, they have made it clear that the groundwork is largely complete. Several documents linked to the deal are in their final stages, signaling that a formal announcement could be imminent. If finalized, the CEPA is expected to significantly expand bilateral trade and investment. Oman is already a key economic partner for India, particularly in energy and non-oil trade, and the agreement would open new opportunities for Indian businesses in manufacturing, logistics, services, and emerging sectors. One concern raised during negotiations has been Oman's policy of Omanization, which prioritizes the employment of Omani nationals. Indian officials, however, remain confident that this will not limit opportunities for skilled Indian professionals, especially as Oman pushes ahead with large infrastructure projects and long-term economic diversification.
India-Oman Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, we are all very optimistic about it. The teams from both the sides, we have been working very hard for its early finalization. And we are working towards it. As I mentioned, that several of these documents are still under various stages of finalization and awaiting for approvals of both the sides. But we have here immense faith that this agreement, if it is signed during this visit, will significantly deepen the economic ties between India and Oman. And it will open up a new chapter in the history of India-Oman trade and commercial relationship.
Beyond economics, defense and strategic cooperation form a crucial pillar of Modi's visit. Oman occupies a uniquely important location at the mouth of the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most vital maritime choke points. For India, which relies heavily on energy flows from the Gulf, close ties with Muscat are a strategic necessity. The two countries already share a strong defense relationship, with India having access to a designated military zone at Oman's Duqm port. This arrangement allows the Indian Navy to dock, repair and maintain vessels, strengthening India's maritime presence in the Indian Ocean. Defense ties are also set to receive a practical boost. Oman has offered to supply spare parts for Jaguar fighter jets, which were earlier operated by the Royal Air Force of Oman, but have since been retired. India is one of the very few countries that still flies these CEPA Jaguar, and maintaining these aircraft has become increasingly difficult due to shortages of spare parts. The transfer of Omani spares expected soon will help keep the Indian Air Force's Jaguar fleet operational. Regional and global issues are also likely to feature in the discussions. While officials have not specified the exact topics, the ongoing Gaza conflict and broader developments in West Asia are expected to be part of the conversation, reflecting Oman's traditional role as a bridge builder in regional diplomacy.
This is a very important visit, and it does come at a very interesting time. It's a year where we celebrate 70 years of establishment of diplomatic relationship. It comes 2 years after the visit of His Majesty, so I think this is very important from different aspects.
Taken together, Modi's Oman visit underscores India's intent to deepen a partnership that spans trade, defense, and regional security. As New Delhi looks to strengthen its footprint in the Gulf, Oman stands out as a stable and strategically vital partner, one that could play a key role in India's economic and security calculus in the years ahead. With Farhan Khan, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
European and US leaders say momentum is building toward ending the Russia-Ukraine war as new diplomatic efforts and security guarantees for Kyiv take shape amid ongoing fight. Mahashweta Lala with this report.
As the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European leaders gathered in The Hague to launch an international claims commission to compensate Kyiv for hundreds of billions of dollars in damage from Russian attacks and alleged war crimes, President Donald Trump said that they were closer to ending the Russia-Ukraine war than ever before.
The security protocols yesterday were amazing, and they have been amazing, having to do with Russia and Ukraine. And I had a long talk with President Zelensky. Also, I spoke with the heads of Germany, Italy, NATO, Finland, France, United Kingdom, Poland, Norway, Denmark, and the Netherlands. We had very long and very good talks, and I think we're closer now, and they will tell you that they're closer now. We had numerous conversations with President Putin of Russia, and I think we're closer now than we have been ever.
A joint statement was released by both US and European leaders declaring their commitment to working together to provide robust security guarantees and economic recovery support for Ukraine. The statement was signed by leaders of Germany, France, the United Kingdom, Italy, Poland, Finland, Norway, Sweden, the Netherlands, and the European Union after 2 days of talks in Berlin. The leaders agreed that ensuring the security, sovereignty, and prosperity of Ukraine was integral for wider Euro-Atlantic security. The agreement pledged to a sustained support to build Ukraine's armed forces to a peacetime level of 800,000.
It is important that the US views Article 5 like arrangements plus relevant security guarantees. We are currently working to have all this written out, and we are making progress there. I see the details from the military that they have been working on. They look quite good, although this is only a first draft.
Kremlin, however, said they hoped the deal is reached for peace and not just for temporary truce.
The question now is whether we, as President Trump says, will reach a deal or not. Our stance is well known. It is consistent and transparent. It is clear to Americans. Generally speaking, it is clear to Ukrainians too. We are confident about it. If Ukrainians seek to substitute the deal with momentary and non-viable options, we are hardly ready to be a part of it.
European leaders and major stakeholders attended the one-day conference hosted by the Netherlands and the 46th Nation Council of Europe.
No, it's not part of the peace negotiations. Of course, rebuilding Ukraine is. But we spoke yesterday about mainly about security guarantees and about the fact that the US, Europe and Ukraine are on the same page, and we have very good guarantees for the security, and therefore Zelensky can have serious discussions with Putin. But then we have to see if Russia, if Putin really wants peace, and we will see that in the coming days.
Earlier, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen reiterated that no consensus could be reached without Ukraine's approval. She also stated that Europe and NATO will sit at the table when matters related to them are being discussed.
Respect the decisions Ukraine makes for itself. Decisions on territories are for Ukraine to take, and Ukraine alone. Likewise, issues affecting the European Union and NATO will be discussed among the European Union and NATO members. In short, nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine, nothing about the European Union without the European Union, nothing about NATO without NATO.
Meanwhile, European Union foreign ministers concluded their final Foreign Affairs Council of the year without agreeing on whether to tap frozen Russian assets to provide loans to Ukraine. As Europe, along with the US, huddled to bring peace and end the conflict, Ukraine's SBU Domestic Security Service said Kyiv's forces struck a Russian submarine in the port of Novorossiysk, causing critical damage to the vessel. Russia's Black Sea Fleet has acknowledged that an attack took place but denied that any of the vessels were damaged. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
A bizarre and deeply controversial story from the United States is igniting global debate. A Chinese gaming billionaire is accused of fathering over 100 children through surrogacy, with claims the number could exceed 300. Is this extreme wealth redefining parenthood, power, and ethical limits in modern world? Here's a report by Srijita Sen Majumdar.
A story emerging from the United States has captured global attention and raised profound questions about wealth, ethics, and family. Chinese gaming billionaire Zhu Bo, founder of online gaming company Duqm, has reportedly fathered more than 100 children through surrogacy agencies across America. However, his former partner alleges the actual figure exceeds 300 children. According to a comprehensive investigation by the Wall Street Journal, which verified numerous social media posts and reports, Zhu Bo has embarked on an unprecedented mission to create what he describes as a sprawling family dynasty. He has publicly referred to himself as China's first father. In 2023, Zhu made a striking declaration of his intentions to father at least 50 sons, especially male heirs, whom he believes are better suited to inherit and manage his business empire. Social media accounts linked to the billionaire have posted statements claiming that having more children can solve all problems, and have even speculated about potential marriages between his offspring and the children of other prominent figures, including Elon Musk. However, this ambitious vision has encountered significant legal and personal challenges. In 2023, Los Angeles Family Court Judge Amy Pellman denied Zhu's parentage petition, though accounts associated with him later suggested a successful appeal. The situation has become further complicated by a custody dispute with his ex-girlfriend Tang Jing over 2 daughters. Tang has alleged that the financial burden of maintaining this extraordinary family has been substantial. She claims the children lack proper household registration and suggests the count of 300 may actually be conservative. In response to mounting controversy, Duqm Network released a statement disputing the higher figure, clarifying that Zhu has fathered only a little over 100 children through many years of effort in the United States. Reports indicate that many of these children reside in a single home in Irvine, California, under the care of professional nannies. The case has sparked intense debate, particularly in China, where commercial surrogacy is prohibited by law. With Srijita Sen Majumdar, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
The United States has unveiled its 2025 national security strategy, emphasizing its America First policy. India, once a celebrated partner, is now being sidelined. What does this mean for New Delhi's strategic future? Watch here on Statecraft. The United States has just dropped its National Security Strategy 2025, and buried inside its America First shield is a message that might just send shockwaves across India. This is not another glossy vision document full of shared values and soaring rhetoric. This is a blunt instrument. India, once framed as a leading global power and democratic counterweight to China, has been quietly, deliberately downplayed. President Trump's second-term NSS talks less about partners and more about costs, burdens, and returns. It is obsessed with borders, factories, tariffs, energy dominance, and power consolidation at home. India appears only in flashes, functional and transactional, no longer celebrated, only assessed. So what does it mean when Washington stops selling friendship and starts calculating utility? And how does this reshaping of America's priorities hit India's diplomatic future? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. The 2025 National Security Strategy is built around a single, unapologetic idea. America First is no longer a slogan. It is a filter through which every region, relationship, and risk is judged. The document mocks past US strategies as unfocused laundry lists that tried to manage the entire world and failed. Trump presents himself as the correction, the man who stopped America from bleeding resources into endless commitments and ideological crusades. This NSS is about defending the US as a sovereign republic, securing borders, crushing mass migration, rebuilding industry, dominating energy, and ensuring military superiority. India's reduced visibility in the document is not accidental. The NSS 2025 mentions India only 4 times, all in functional contexts. When India is mentioned, it is almost always in the context of utility. India is grouped alongside European and Asian allies as part of a broader effort to enlist partners for American priorities, whether in critical minerals, Africa, or countering China's supply chain dominance. This is not strategic courtship, it is strategic recruitment. Experts suggest that Washington increasingly views India not as a strategic investment, but as a liability. Too independent, too unwilling to make concessions, too committed to multi-alignment to fit neatly into a US-led bloc. This recalibration is inseparable from Trump's broader worldview. The NSS repeatedly criticizes previous administrations for overextension, for acting like Atlas holding up the world order. The NSS's heavy emphasis on sovereignty and non-intervention resonates superficially with India's own preferences, but the similarity is deceptive. For Washington, sovereignty is a shield against obligations. For New Delhi, it has often been a basis for strategic flexibility. When both sides prioritize sovereignty, cooperation requires more negotiation, not less. Every joint initiative becomes a bargain rather than an assumption. For India, the challenge is not rejection but relevance. How to remain useful without becoming dependent, how to engage without overcommitting, and how to navigate a partnership where praise has been replaced by pressure. Ultimately, the document tells us less about India's standing and more about America's state of mind. In such a world, relationships are renegotiated constantly, and silence can be as revealing as emphasis. India is not sidelined, but it is no longer spotlighted. And in a strategy that counts, that quiet recalibration may be the loudest message of all. Thank you for watching Statecraft. That's a wrap on this edition of India Today Global. But before I go, here are some other stories from across the world in World at a Glance. Goodbye and take care.
Rob Reiner's son, Nick Reiner, was in custody after being booked for what investigators believe was the fatal stabbing of the director-actor and his wife at their Los Angeles home a day earlier. It was not immediately clear what charges 32-year-old Nick Reiner would face. Meanwhile, President Trump doubled down on his attack against Rob Reiner. Trump earlier in a post called Reiner a tortured and struggling movie director with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. Authorities released new images of a person of interest in the Brown University shooting as the FBI announced $50,000 reward for information leading to the identification, arrest and conviction of the shooter. Police officers were going door to door seeking footage from home surveillance cameras as investigators renewed a manhunt for the gunman who killed 2 students and injured 7 more in a classroom at Brown University. After US strikes on 3 more suspected drug boats, Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth will provide a classified briefing for House and Senate lawmakers on the ongoing campaign by the Trump administration to stop drug trafficking.